All right, thanks for watching. My name's John J. Singleton, and chances are one of my partners has referred you to watch this video. And it's pertaining to the use of an easement to prevent or preclude a foreclosing party from taking possession of your property. So I want to explain how that works, and I want to also validate that that person who's explaining this to you is for real, okay? This is not some sort of gimmick or a scam. So what we're doing is we're using easements. An easement is a right to use property. So what you were able to do, which you probably were not aware of, is as the owner of your property, you're able to convey your property rights, most of them, to an easement. The easement is, let's look at it like a lien, but it's not a lien on the title. An easement is a public record of the right to use property. So before I get into that too much, let me explain about my background. Back in the 2008, 9, 10, 11, all that area, all that time period where people were suffering foreclosures, and it was because, they were saying in the news, um, uh, the banks were lending to people that didn't have the ability to pay, right? And then also the issue was that they couldn't find the note. Remember, you heard this one before, couldn't produce the note. All right. So in that time period, I took on over 1,000 foreclosure cases, and I stopped the foreclosures, and I was able to get most of my clients' money back. Okay. Like back out of the deal, so to speak, recover their money and get them into another house, even when they had bad credit. So I've been in this doing this work. I mean, I really did this work for about 30 years now. And I would just want to share with you that little segment of my work, which probably spanned about 4 years, where I took most of these cases. I'd say that maybe it was closer to 1,200 different foreclosures. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this. And so I have a different method of doing a similar thing. But in this case, the easement will allow you to retain possession perpetually for as long as you want, regardless of what happens to the title. And this one I'm going to explain to you. The title can be foreclosed upon, no problem. What that will do for you to your benefit is going to exhaust the mortgage lien. But what you can do before that is like my partner's explaining to you. You can convey your rights right now, many of them that we need. We explain all this. We write up the instrument that does this. We convey those rights to an easement. We then record the easement at the same place your mortgage is recorded, same place your trust deed is recorded, okay? And then when the foreclosure takes place, and it will, the whatever happens at the auction, it doesn't matter. The bank might take the title. It doesn't matter. The bank's lien will get satisfied, and the foreclosure will wipe out any other inferior liens behind that. Like, for example, if you have a HELOC or something like that. Um, the only thing it won't wipe out is a property tax lien or a mechanics lien. Okay. The foreclosure will wipe out everything else, an IRS lien too. So the foreclosure is going to be useful to wipe out all these liens, including itself. Okay. So the mortgage lien is going to go away. But what will happen is you will be able to retain the possession of the property, whether or not it doesn't matter who owns the title afterwards. No one can then come on the property and start using it. Okay, because of the way we're writing this easement. And there's some things to be concerned about. Like we have to be very certain about different aspects of this easement. Okay, but let me give an example of what an easement is, and you've been using it. An easement is a heck, without easements, it wouldn't mean anything if we had cars, because in order to use your car, you have to access other people's property through easements, which is the roadway. Okay, so the first easement that we're all familiar with is the road system. At some point in the past, a private property owner, a rancher, a farmer, somebody probably allowed many other people to use the roadway to create a path over his land, and that became a road, and we call that an easement. It's a grant of a right that it could be revoked, but it's going to be permanent, and it's going to survive changes in the title. Same thing with your utilities. When you moved in the house or you had to build or whatever, the utilities were there by the developer or the previous owner. The utility is established through an easement. It's a legal description of the use of the property. Okay. So someone who's accessing your property through an easement, it's done as a matter of right. You can't stop him, actually. In fact, it's illegal to stop him. So what we're doing is taking this power, you have it as the title holder now, you have to be the title holder, and we're conveying some of the powers that are necessary over to an easement, and then we allow you to continue your use of the property as a tenant under that easement agreement. So we're completely porting out or exporting all your rights and obligations under the title to an easement. So what the title is concerned with title, and the easement is concerned with possession. So what's happening right now is if you don't do anything, the title will be foreclosed upon, and from that, you will lose possession. But if we have the easement in place, the title will be foreclosed upon, and you will not lose possession because of the easement. All right? So if that helps you understand what my partner's trying to explain, I hope it does. If you want to have a conversation or consultation about this, my partner know, and we will set up a time. I'm more than happy to discuss this, but those are the basics. And yeah, the person you're talking to knows what he's talking about, and he's not alone. All right, we're working together. It's a team. We have people all over the country doing this, and we're all following kind of the same plan. Right, this is something that I don't believe has been introduced to other people yet. That's probably why it sounds new to you. I mean, your alternatives are what? I mean, you're going to lose the house, right? Unless you pay off. The only thing you can do is pay the entire debt right now. If you can't do that, and chances are, I mean, it probably doesn't make any sense anyways. If you had the money to do that, I would do something else. But in any case, you don't have an option because bankruptcy is just a payment plan. You're going to lose your house in bankruptcy. You're just going to delay it. Um, any sort of debt program or having a lawyer help you, that's just going to delay it. The lawyer is going to make sure that you lose your house. They're not your advocate, okay? Lawyers are not your advocate. And you probably already know that, but hearing someone else say it might validate in your mind. You might realize, okay, maybe that is true. No, the lawyers don't have your interest. They're not your advocate. Bankruptcy doesn't help you. Payment plans don't help. A mortgage modification is a lie. Mortgages cannot be modified. That would be illegal. The SEC would get involved, okay? What the bank is telling you is a lie. You cannot modify a mortgage because it is a security instrument in which there are many other interests. By the time your deal closed when you bought the house, there were many other organizations and financial interests in your mortgage. You cannot now change the terms. So what they're doing is all the bank is doing is modifying your payment plan. You're still in default. You're going to be in default. That makes you wonder when you call them to talk about modification, you were told what? To stop paying, right? You were told to go into default. Wonder why? So they could take your house. All they're really doing is keeping you in default so they can take your house anytime they want. And they're saying, oh, yeah, here's your adjusted payment plan. All they're doing is modifying your payment plan. They're not modifying the mortgage. You are still in default. Now there are times where they'll take your money and they won't foreclose, but they do not give up the right to foreclose. You're paying on a property that can be foreclosed upon at any time after that point because you're in default. You're paying a mortgage payment that's no longer for a mortgage payment because the mortgage itself is already in default. You see, this whole thing is a scam. The bank is a scam. Okay. My guys that are out there talking to you, they're trying to help you out. So let me know if you want to talk about something, but listen to what my guy says. Okay. You can get me on the phone too. Just ask him to do a 3-way. It's hard to get me, but just try to get me on the phone. All right. Thanks a lot.